is Valley News Live at 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here's a look at today's top 4 at 4. The Minnesota Highway Patrol is investigating a head-on crash that killed one person. It happened around 5 this morning on Highway 27 east of Hoffman. That's in Grant County. Police say a car collided with a semi. The driver of the car passed away. The semi driver was injured. Authorities say 50-year-old Andrea Sweeney is the woman who ended up in the hospital after a rollover crash near Valley City. Highway Patrol says the accident happened just before 10 a.m. yesterday on I-94 just west of Valley City. Authorities say the woman was heading toward Jamestown when she lost control of her Buick and overcorrected, causing it to enter the median and flip. Fargo police are warning of dangerous pills that may have caused fatal overdoses. They say the pills are small, round, and blue with an M printed on one side and a 30 printed on the other. Police tell us they found a large amount of these pills over the past year. They've also seen more overdoses. There were several cases where the pills were marketed as oxycodone, but the user didn't know they contained much more potent drugs, fentanyl. If you have any information related to these pills, you're asked to contact FPD. President Biden woke up in the White House for the first time this morning. He kicked off his first full day in office with a packed agenda, but much of today's focus is on tackling the pandemic. We'll have the latest from Washington, D.C. in just a minute. That wraps up today's top 4 at 4. Now let's get a first look at our weather with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Hutch.
Stacy, the weather giveth and the weather taketh away. Yesterday we were talking about that big warm up of 35 degrees over our temperatures earlier in the week, and now, well, we're going right back down into the deep freeze. We're 25 degrees colder than we were yesterday at this time. We have had gusty winds today, over 40 miles per hour for some of our counties, 31 mile per hour peak gusts so far today in the FM area. Look at temperatures. They've been falling throughout the day. And we lost about more than 10 degrees in an hour between 7 and 8 o'clock this morning, and it's just been going down since. So bundle up out there. We're holding on to near 20 degrees in Aberdeen. Radar pretty quiet here throughout the northern valley. Now, as we look down to the south, we are seeing a little bit of snow south of Bismarck towards Aberdeen and Ellendale. That's where we might have some flaky conditions. But look at that tower cam view, clear skies, and look at those temperatures continuing to fall to near zero by bedtime tonight. We'll be sub-zero by bedtime tonight in our northern counties. Stacy, coming up, we'll have a look at how cold we get for Friday morning. We'll also talk a little bit about that chance of snow for the weekend. Details here in a few moments.
All right, Hutch, thanks so much. Essentia Health started vaccinations for Priority Group 1B this week. Valley News Team's Brian Sherrod spoke with their family medicine physician and brings us the latest.
When speaking with Dr. Richard Vetter, he tells me that they received both the Pfizer and Moderna doses for the first round of vaccinations, and this goes to the 75 and older group. Now, Essentia has received 975 doses of Pfizer and a couple doses of Moderna. This week alone, Essentia will vaccinate over 1,000 people. Vaccinations are also happening in Wahpeton, Valley City, Jamestown, and many Minnesota sites. When it is the patient's turn, they are asked to reach out through their MyChart patient portal if interested. Essentia will reach out through the same means and in many cases by voice and phone messaging. In the next 2 weeks, Essentia will join Sanford Health in the Joint Vaccination Center located in the old Gordman's building. Dr. Vetter says that makes it easier in terms of fixing the miscommunication that is out there about vaccinations.
Well, I think the value really will be to show the community and be able to communicate to the community on a much more consistent basis. There's been a lot of challenges, I think, around communication, miscommunication. You know, the story changes from time to time. And so I think having a co-located facility will really help us with the communication about when doses are available, what's available, how many doses, that sort of thing.
Now, until then, vaccinations will be provided at their 32nd Avenue location. Essentia shows a 70% acceptance rate with vaccinations with their personnel. The shot is not mandated, but at this time, it is encouraged. As the students continue to do in-person learning, they will keep close watch of the COVID-19 cases. Staff still raises concerns about larger groups attending weddings and funerals.
Side effects from vaccinations are a possibility, but patients are monitored for 15 to 30 minutes after receiving the vaccine just to be safe. If you're looking to get a COVID test in the Fargo-Moorhead area, you're in luck. Fargo Cass Public Health is hosting a rapid testing event in West Fargo this weekend. It'll be held Sunday from 8 to 3 at Faith Journey Lutheran Church. Pre-registration is required. The rapid tests are self-administered, and you'll get a text with your results in 15 to 30 minutes. A group of lawmakers want North Dakota taxpayers to foot the bill for their meals. The legislation follows a ban on free feasts from lobbyists and interest groups. Republican Representative Keith Kempnich is sponsoring the bill that would allow lawmakers who live outside of Bismarck to claim reimbursement for meals. He said he used to get fancy dinners from lobbyists, but now he has to eat spaghetti out of a can. The bill has an estimated cost of more than $424,000 to taxpayers over the course of 2 years. A North Dakota lawmaker wants to ban wastewater testing for the coronavirus. Representative Claire Corey says it violates the privacy rights of college students. She brought the bill over concerns from people about wastewater testing tracing the virus to university campuses. The practice is an emerging science that's potentially an earlier indicator of active COVID cases. President Joe Biden bashed the failed vaccine rollout at the previous administration before announcing new executive actions he's taking. The deadly virus has claimed the lives of more than 400,000 Americans, and President Biden is warning that there are still dark days ahead. Natalie Brand is on Capitol Hill, where more Biden cabinet nominees are also under consideration.
Good afternoon.
President Biden spent his first full day in office laser focused on the coronavirus pandemic. The president signed 10 executive orders.
This is a wartime undertaking. Today, I'm signing an executive action to use the Defense Production Act and all other available authorities to direct all federal agencies and private industry to accelerate the making of everything that's needed to protect, test, vaccinate, and take care of our people.
After his remarks, the president and Vice President Kamala Harris met with Dr. Anthony Fauci and his coronavirus team.
Here on Capitol Hill, the newly Democratic Senate with a 50-50 split continued its work of considering the president's cabinet nominees.
At his Senate confirmation hearing, Transportation Secretary nominee Pete Buttigieg emphasized the importance of infrastructure in the fight against COVID-19.
We have to ensure that all of our transportation systems, our aviation and public transit, our railways, roads, ports, our waterways and pipelines, all of it is managed safely in this critical period as we work to defeat the virus for good.
Meanwhile, the House is debating ahead of a vote on a legally required waiver to allow retired Army General Lloyd Austin to serve as Defense Secretary. He's been out of uniform less than the mandated 7 years.
It is the day after Mr. Biden has become president. He needs his Secretary of Defense.
The Biden administration's first Senate-confirmed cabinet pick, Avril Haines, will be sworn in as the first woman to serve as Director of National Intelligence. The White House confirms President Biden plans to ask Trump appointee Christopher Wray to stay on as FBI Director. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Tomorrow, the Senate Finance Committee is expected to vote on Janet Yellen's nomination as Treasury Secretary. If approved, it'll head to the full Senate for a final vote. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer met with new Democratic senators today on Capitol Hill. Schumer met with Georgia Senators Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff, among others. Their victories created a 50-50 party split in the Senate and gave Democrats the majority because Vice President Kamala Harris is the tie-breaking vote. Schumer says he's ready to get to work on passing legislation to give Americans relief from COVID-19. President Biden signed a proclamation calling for border wall construction to come to an end. Migrants and human rights advocates are hopeful that U.S. immigration policies will change once construction of former President Trump's border wall stops. While Trump was president, he made repeated promises that Mexico would pay for the wall. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says Americans have committed $15 billion for more than 700 miles. It's unclear how many miles are under contract and what penalties the government would have to pay for canceling them. Aerospace company SpaceX has launched another group of satellites. The company launched its signature Falcon 9 rocket, carrying 60 internet satellites into low orbit. It was a record 8th flight for this particular rocket. Approximately 9 minutes after liftoff, the Falcon 9's first stage returned to Earth, landing on one of SpaceX's drone ships in the Atlantic Ocean in a smooth touchdown. The launch came after 2 days of delay due to poor weather in the recovery zone and the need for extra pre-flight checks. Coming up, a look at fashion from yesterday's inauguration, specifically Bernie Sanders and his meme-worthy mittens.
But next, we're going to talk a little weather as temperatures continue their plunge. How low will we go? I'll have that answer, and we'll look ahead at a chance of weekend flakes in your forecast right after this.